I chose reading mastery as my topic to analyze according to Willingham. The first article that I looked at was by Mendez, Peterman, and Frank from 2016. It was a quantitative research study, and their main claim was that there was a strong effect on oral reading fluency from the use of reading mastery. When I stripped their claim, I found out that that was not just the results from reading mastery that had a positive effect on their results. The school had actually received an A rating from the state. They also had additional layers of support. In fact, they had so many layers of support that they named their overall reading intervention Reading by Design. When I went to trace it, I found out that the only thing that was really there to highlight was that it conflicts with the other research article that I analyzed. When I went to analyze it, I looked for flaws very carefully. I didn't find much, but the research design was a one-way paired samples t-test. I did find out there was no control group and there was a small sample size, so it would not have qualified for What Works Clearinghouse. But the authors did address this small sample size and lack of control group by recommending a larger study with a control group. They also had some confounding variables. Like I said before, the school had received an A rating from the state. They also had high parental support and used additional teaching strategies such as motivational strategies and listening while reading. However, they addressed these limitations in the limitations of the study. So should I do it? Absolutely. In fact, we should add the layers of support just as they did. The other research study that I looked at was by Wiltz and Wilson from 2006. Their main claim was that the kids did not have the comprehension skills that they had expected when compared with a school that used a literature-based program. It was a qualitative study, so again, it would not have met qualifications for What Works Clearinghouse. When I went to strip their claim, the only thing I really noted there was that it was mostly on direct instruction, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit more about reading mastery in the literature review. When I went to trace it, again, the only thing that I found was that it conflicted with the other study. When I went to analyze Wiltz and Wilson, it was an empirical research study. The data collection and analysis procedures are very much in line with what we have gone over in qualitative research, but I think reading mastery was used inappropriately. They actually cut the lesson time in half. The students were already reading on grade level, and the problem with that is that reading mastery is intended as an intervention, not as a Tier 1 curriculum. So it would kind of be like trying to mow the grass with a vacuum cleaner. You're never going to find what you're looking for there. I also found it interesting that a teacher remarked that her students did have low comprehension skills, but it was reading mastery was research-based. So if I only had a dime for every time I've heard that, right? So should I do it? Should I stop using reading mastery because of that research article? Absolutely not. Then we get to Education Week, and this was misleading from the very beginning. The headline reads, "Studies of popular reading texts don't meet reviewers' rigor test." Now this leads me to believe that reading mastery doesn't meet their rigor test, when actually what it was talking about was the research study not meeting What Works Clearinghouse's rigor test. So it had nothing to do with whether reading mastery was effective or ineffective. When I went to trace it, I found out that the author had a degree in communications. She did have a master's in education, but before she became the editor and author of this article, she was a sports writer. So how did I analyze it? I used my experience with reading mastery. All of my students have made gains, and some of them have made really big gains. These are actual results from the 2016-2017 year and in the 2018-2019 year, where I left these children to go to the behavior room. They still continued to make gains even after I left because they continued to use this program, in my opinion. Should I do it? Should I stop using reading mastery because of this article? Absolutely not. No. And here are my references.